All right, so let's get started. So always take notes. Maybe you've heard of before, or you've touched on these concepts before with other people. We're going to get you to maybe think of them differently. We want to get into a conversation for you to start thinking about this habit, which is a third habit, from a different perspective than maybe how we have talked about it in the past. Not necessarily us, but where the talk in, I suppose, in our world has been on this habit in the past. So always take notes and refresh your notes as you go through them, right? So remember, this course, this program, the MBX Evolution program, it's all about helping us build resilience. This coaching process is put together to help you build that resilience muscle to be able to navigate the road ahead without losing your integrity and passion for life. Regardless what other people say, what other people do, you need to stay true to you. And sometimes you just need to stay true, and you need to be responsible to hold other people responsible. Sometimes we give in to other people's whims at our expense of our own integrity. What I do know is that there's no fear of the truth. If you're coming from a space of truth and integrity and say, hey, this is the way it is. This is the conversation I had. This is the way I felt. This is what I'm doing. This is how I share. This is how I give of myself. Well, you're never going to want for anything. You know, you're always going to be supported. You're always going to have that love. You're going to have the universe behind you. The people who don't have the universe behind them have got an ulterior motive. The people who don't have the universe behind them are people who have a hidden agenda. That's my thought. So we want to be able to, we put this program together so we can help you while you're in this coaching space to be able to acquire the tools. And, you know, it's heartening to hear your stories and the stories of you in this room, and we come together, and the stories of the people in the course that we know. We just finished our energy psychology, our practitioner course, the specialized kinesiology and tapping course. Boy, what it was a huge program it was for those who are in it. But some people made some huge calls with their lives. Some people stood up and made major decisions moving forward. And people already starting to work with other people and sharing these energetic tools so they can help the people they're working with to navigate the road ahead. Start thinking about, how do you want your future to feel like? Now's the time to get into the feeling. And it's really about shedding your old skin. It's a shamanic death that we go through, and dealing with the emotions that you need to deal with in order for you to rise up as a different being, connect to a different level of consciousness. I'm not going to say high or low, it's just a different level. We're all on a journey, and we're experiencing consciousness at exactly where we need to be. So he says, who would you be? What would you do? And how would you feel if you already had blank? Your job is to fill the blank. And if you haven't written that down, that statement, write it down. Who would I be? What would I do? And what would I feel if I already had blank? Now, some key words there is if I already had blank. So, you know, the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction. So you're letting know the unconscious mind that I've got this. So who would I be? Who would I need to be? So you're going to be moving into the identity of the person that you would need to be in order to be doing what you need to be doing, and more importantly, have the feeling. And so your job is to connect to the feeling, the kinesthetic feeling, connect to the frequency. If you can connect to that frequency and the vibration that you would be feeling if you already had, so tell your unconscious mind, I already have this. What is the feeling you're feeling? Connect to that vibration, anchor that vibration, and make sure you bring that vibration every morning. Use it as a trigger. And we're going to be talking about triggers today as one of the building practices for this habit that we're going to be talking about. And so if you use that as a trigger to stay in that vibration, you're going to be bringing more of this habit, third habit, to you, and be able to move forward with grace and with ease and achieve the things that you want. Now, we're not going to say that it's easy. Stuff's going to happen, but you're going to be in a better position to deal with the stuff and not react maybe the way you've reacted in the past. And as long as you stay within your values and your boundaries and true to who you are, then how people choose to react is how people choose to react. That's on them. How you act is on you. So we know today we are doing energy. So we're going to have a conversation about energy. Now you might think, oh, what's he going to talk about? Is it the woo-woo energy? Is it ATP energy? You know, is he going to talk about the Krebs cycle and what happens when you get glucose in the body and how does that turn into energy and it goes through from a cellular level? Well, we could talk all of it. We can have a conversation about, what about mental energy, emotional energy, physical energy, spiritual energy? It's all something which nurtures you. It's all something that provides you the fuel to keep moving from a physical perspective, from an emotional perspective, from a mental perspective, a thought process, what's your focus, an emotional perspective, how you handle things, from a spiritual perspective, your purpose, what drives you, what's your North Star. Everything that we've said, we've talked about before, fuels an energy force for you. So we're going to have that conversation today. And then obviously next week is going to be into courage, productivity, and so forth. So, and again, what I'm saying is these sessions have a specific outline. We'll add, sprinkle some things around it just to make it look more colorful and add a few more things, but the actual session is predetermined. And this is what Brendan says. He goes, just trust the process. He has people paying $1 million for these 12 sessions through him. He says, you know what? I read the same questions I've given you. And if I get stuck, I just read the next question. So you can trust the process. The process works, and one session builds on the next session. And so you'll probably find you'll have the awarenesses build up as you go along through the process. So we have a session outline that we follow. You're always going to find something. You're always going to find a reason to do something which you value as important to you. So I want you to understand the importance. It's up to you, but think about these 12 sessions are going to help you map out a plan for you to be able to move forward with grace and ease. As we move on to the next thing, here's our question. It's a good image, isn't it? Right? Question is, what's the one resource that when you master, your life expands? We sort of know what we're working with, but what's your automatically go to? What do you think? What's the one resource that when you master, your life expands? What's the habit which is critical to high performance? In fact, it's probably one of the most important habits in high performance based on the research with top performers. The answer? Energy. Because I want you to think about all the other habits, right? Clarity, courage, productivity, influence. Man, if you don't have the energy, if you're saying, oh, I'm tired, how influential are you going to be? How productive are you going to be? Are you going to be clear and focused, or are you going to be fuzzy in the head? So this habit of energy is critical. And I think about it, you know, so many people struggle and they don't feel these levels of energy that's required in order for them to reach the levels of performance and the results in their life, in their health, the career, or their relationship. They settle for second best. They just experience what they think is health, but not necessarily experience it at an optimum level. I mean, in the Western world, and we know when we did the energy psychology, right? Now, what's the definition of health? The Western world says health is the absence of disease. So just because I don't have a disease, well, that's incorrect because we all got disease right now, so we're not healthy. But they would say if you're not right now diagnosed with a pathological, some sort of disease, then you're healthy. Are you experiencing vibrancy though? Are you experiencing vitality? Are you experiencing a vital flow? Ooh, there you go. A vital flow through your body. That's different, right? So most people go through their life feeling that they're energized and they're healthy, and they're probably, if we had a generic scale, maybe a 6 on 7 on the scale, and they think that's the top of the game. What's the next level they could experience if they took that next level? You know, a lot of us have chosen some time in our life. I want you to think about some time in life to actually focus on spending some time on this area, whether we need to get healthier and we want to experience a more vibrant life. We get fit and we start doing healthy things. Or it might have been that, you know what, we want to start sleeping more so we can get more focused. Or maybe we just started to do things just to declutter and just drop the emotions that are, you know, consuming us. And so to let go of things easy. All of us have attempted to do something like this in the past. Haven't we? And think about it. At what time have you done that? Have you done it as a knee-jerk reaction to an experience that you're going through? It's like most people do something like that when they've had that diagnosis, or they've had that threat, or they've had that rattle in the cage where they have to, I've got to do that now because if I don't. So they do it as an away from, as opposed to toward. They don't do the daily rituals for it to be embraced as part of their normal routine, to anchor in those learnings as part of them. I mean, when you think about it, most people take this stuff for granted. They'll take their energy and their health for granted. Would you agree? They live their life as if they're never going to die, and they die as if they've never lived. I mean, we've heard that saying before, right? And you spend your first 50 years of your life hustling, and inverted commas, who says you have to hustle to make it? You know how we can debunk that myth? You've got to hustle to be successful. Don't you know so many people that hustle and hustle and hustle that aren't successful? So hustling doesn't equal success. Because so many people hustle and haven't made that yet. So hustling's not the answer. So we take it for granted. The fact that you're here, though, means that you're not. You're part of this program to be able to acquire skills, tools, techniques, processes, and apply them in your daily life so you can take your experience of life to the next level, to have a greater depth, a greater connection of your relationships, of your connections with your friends, with your peers, with your family, with your work, with your mission, to wake up in the morning and feel that you matter and you count and you're contributing and you're serving humanity in your own unique way. I mean, does that fuel you, or are you just like the masses that just same old, same old? So I want to challenge you, because you're in this room. I want you to think about, and it's up to you if you take up the challenge, your mission, should you choose to accept it, right? Is what if you chose the next 12 months to make it the best 12 months for your health, your vibrancy, and your energy? What if you made a commitment? You stood up and said, you know what? This next 12 months, I'm going to put my time and energy into experiencing my energy and my health in a way that I've never experienced it before. To learn the tools and techniques and to commit to processes and to action that's going to make me experience my body, maybe me look in the mirror, feel good about who I am, the energy. Where would your life be? I want you to think about it. 12 months from now, where would your life be if you made that commitment to experience your physical existence and allow this body, which is a temple that your spirit chose, for you to finally honor your spirit and your source and to create the temple congruent with the power of your spirit? Where would your life be? Just imagine that. And you know what? Just start. And it doesn't matter whether you last 12 months when you do this. You can go 30 days, 60 days, and still in that 30, 60 days, you're going to generate a new pattern, new neurological pathways, new experiences that you're still going to have tools to be able to get over things that you haven't been able to get over before. Am I making any sense? Like for me, I have to tell you guys, from a physical perspective, my life changed when I did this NLP training course in Melbourne 3 years back, and that's where I met Keegan, right? And Keegan is a body recomposition specialist or a personal trainer. He's got his, an athlete, in terms of, if you call them a physical therapist, a body recomposition specialist, a health specialist, all in one. But someone whose vision was to actually help you be comfortable with who you look in the mirror. So I finished this NLP program, and he was, this guy's a man mountain. If you ever meet him, he's a man mountain, right? He's huge, this guy. It's like he got up to get his certificate with me. I'm looking at him, I go, oh, I better be nice to him. It's quite scary when he looks down at you, right? And he said to me, look, Arthur, this is fantastic. I want to thank you so much. The course has been great. It's changed my life. And, to this day, just talks about the huge change in mindset shift that the NLP program has done for him. And it's because that program has been able to do what he needed to do and get his business to where it is today, right? And that's why he's so of the mindset stuff with his team and his crew and his clients. And that's the only reason, I think, not the only reason, but one of the key reasons that his gym has survived COVID and actually flourished and grown, and members have grown and other gyms have closed, right? And he said, look, I just want to thank you so much. What can I do for you? I said, look, Keegan, just because the fact that you're here means, just give us a testimony. And he goes, well, what can I do for you? What's one area in your life that if you got the biggest result in, will give you the biggest change in all areas in your life? I thought, geez, he's coaching me now. I couldn't say no to him because, it's like he's bigger than me. And I said, well, I suppose health, Keegan, 20 years in the field at that time. And, I remember how I was when I first started. Nick remembers how I was when I first started. The days of going out to the cauldron, the nightclubs there, Nick, right back in those days. So, and I'll probably let my health slide over the years. And I said, I'll probably let my health slide. And I think, you get up and you talk about health and wellness. And I suppose part of me, because it let me be your health coach. I said, all right. I made a commitment. And I was, in terms of weight-wise, I should show some photos. That's probably the best thing to do. I haven't put them up there. Yeah, right. That's my next step, right, Amy? Bring out those old photos. I was about 94, 95 kilograms at that time. So I'm now down to 75, 76 kilograms. So I've lost 20 kilos. Not only that, I'm feeling better. I'm in size 32 jeans, some 31 stretchy ones. So I like the 31s, right? And I'm feeling good. And I tell you, thank you, Vanessa, if I hadn't done that, I look back at because we all go through stuff, right? And no one's stuff is more important than anyone else's stuff. I'm just talking about my stuff. I look back at what I've gone through over the last year with work, business, COVID, all this type of stuff, home relationship. And you know what? If I hadn't done that with my health, I probably would have had no energy to go on. It probably would have been easier for me to stay in the comfort zone. Do you understand what I mean? So the fact that I did that put me in a better position to deal with future obstacles. At least provided me with, the energy. People say, where do you get the energy to do all this type of stuff? What do you do? Well, we have our own ritual that we do. You don't have to do what we do. Like Brendan says, you don't have to do what he does. His ice baths and his kale smoothies with his blueberries and everything else that he talks about. Everyone's got their own strategy. We're going to talk about some, right? But if I hadn't got my health to that stage where I'm experiencing my health in a way that I hadn't experienced before, like the way I used to be before I got married, like we used to have, like different energy. And that's helped me get through what we've gotten through. So I want you to think about, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to experience health and vibrance in a way that you haven't done before. What needs to happen to do that? And it can start small, right? Okay, it could be a big concept, but it does start small. But you just got to move towards the edge of your comfort zone. Start doing things, and you're doing them. I know that. You're committed to your growth in your health and your early morning classes. And so you just need to do that, but you need to be consistent. And whether you get that goal or not, you're going to create some strategies. You're going to create some new pathways, and it's going to hold you in good stead when you need it, when things come up in the future. See, guys, your energy amplifies your habits. Energy is an amplifier, like money. Money's energy, right? Money just amplifies who you are. And the lack of money amplifies who you are. Money as a whole amplifies who you are. How you deal with having it or not having it amplifies who you are. So energy amplifies who you are. Because you know what? If you're a sourpuss, you got a lot of energy, you got a lot of energy towards being a sourpuss, right? You think about it. Or if you're a positive thinking person, and you're always touching room possibilities, and you've got a lot of energy towards that, then you're going to have a different vibration, different frequency. You're going to have a different charisma people are going to be attracted to. Who are you attracted to? Someone who puts energy towards possibility of a better future, or someone who puts energy into being a sourpuss and complains all the time? Who are you attracted to the most? Someone who puts energy towards touching the rim of possibility? Just put possibility or sourpuss? Let's see, the possibilitarian or the sourpussarian? Possibilitarian, 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 possibilitarian. I think 100% of people, well, the only one that probably attracted the sourpuss would be the sourpuss. And I say that respectfully and humbly because everyone's got a choice. And we don't know what's going on in that person's life, so we have to acknowledge that. But you can still choose to how you handle that situation. And that's going to be one of the keys that we talk about today, how you can, part of the mindset stuff, to ensure that you're using that energy in a way that at least pushes you through. Because how do you deal with things when shit happens in your life? You know, how do you deal with things when you've had an accident or there's a trauma or, you know, someone passes in your family or there's a loss of some sort? How do you deal with that? How can you stay a possibilitarian? But this is all the training, right? Doing all this, you've got the neurology where you're able to at least find one thing to do that day to keep moving forward. As opposed to holding on to what may have happened, holding on to the past, holding on to the regrets. See, when you're holding on to the past, the one emotion that people feel the most is regret. They regret the things they did or they regret the things they didn't do. And they fear that it'll happen then again. And so that's anxiety. So the two emotions that only exist in your head are regret, which is past, and anxiety, which is future. And we regret what we did or didn't do, and we fear or we get angry. So all those emotions that we think might happen again makes us anxious. You can't be regretful of the future. You can't be anxious of the past. So the goal for this session is to understand how much energy you have each day and how to amplify it to higher levels so you can have that vibrancy, that stamina you need to achieve your goals, however small or big they are, because that's just subjective, the size, right? So you can live a fully charged life. That's the goal of this session. Let me give you some stats, some research. There's some research that Brendan with his institute has done with high performers, right? And with relation to energy. Did you know the world's highest performers have remarkable energy, endurance, and chasing dreams? We know that, right? You think, how do these people find the energy? They've got a remarkable energy in chasing their dreams, in chasing whatever is important to them, however, whatever size it is. Here's some research. Studies show that the top 15% of high performers, top 15% of high performers, so high performers, top 15% of them, were 40% more likely to work out 5 times a week. 5 times per week. So top 15%, half of them would work out 5 times per week. So if you're going to choose to work out 5 times a week, and we'll give you an idea of what you may or may not do, and that's, I'm not a professional, I'm just going to give you some ideas that we get from Brendan, right? If you're going to choose to work out 5 times a week, that means you're making a choice to move into the top 15% of the high performers. Because there's a correlation with your mobility, your exercise, your flow of neurotransmitters in the body, your circadian rhythms. There's a correlation between your productivity and the way you deal with things with the amount of times that you get up and move. Now, if you know better, you could do better. That's Maya Angelou's quote, right? Now, you could give me an excuse why you're not moving. I get that. Sometimes, well, let's look at other ways. There's always a way, a possibility for you to be able to do something. Well, here's the possibility. You can't move. All right. Well, do you know that science shows that visualizing you moving and running fires up the same neurological pathways in the muscles as if you were running? So you know what? If you're not going to work out for half an hour, can you do a half an hour brain workout and visualize? It still has to be half an hour, not 30 seconds. I visualize for 30 seconds. It's the same time of energy you need to put. So if you're not finding time to visualize it or to physically do it, then it's not important to you. And that's okay. That's your choice. We're not judging anyone here. We're just reporting. All right? Robin Sharma says. But you have to answer to yourself. If you're not going to take care of that now, then it may come back as a major obstacle for you down the track. Here's an interesting one. CEOs and small business operators have as much self-reported mental, physical, and emotional energy as NFL quarterbacks. So they expend the same amount of mental, physical, and emotional energy. So if you're a small business operator, get this. If you're running your own business, you have the same demand on your body as an elite athlete. So just because in your business, if you're not treating your body as an elite athlete, then your business is going to suffer. Is that making sense? So this session's all about energy. That's my little preamble. So let's look at some of these questions on energy. Now, these are the questions which are written as part of this process. So first question, in the last 3 months, I want you to think about, in the last 3 months, how have you felt energetically in terms of your mental and physical vibrancy? Just check in. Where have you been in the last 3 months? In the areas of nutrition, exercise, wellness, and sleep. And, you know, people can get emotional with this stuff too, right? And there's lots of books out there. There's a lot of right ways and less than right ways. And I'm not here to say one way is the best way or another way. You need to start something at least, right? So, and sleep, we'll give you some research on sleep, which is quite interesting. What habits do you have that are really supporting your energy and health? Number 3, what routines do you have for recharging daily? Weekly, monthly, and yearly. And they're different. You can have a different daily routine, a different weekly routine, a different monthly routine, and different yearly routine. Now, your classical yearly routine in the Western world is a family holiday, right? Every year you're going on a family holiday, it's a recharge. That's your classic. Well, what do you have? Question 4, let's have a look. Are there any areas of your life that are particularly stressful or draining energetically? If so, what are you doing for stress management? So which specific area in your life right now is draining you the most energetically? Let us know. And if so, are you doing any stress management? Number 5, what would you take on or try to achieve? Interesting one. If you had 3 times more energy overall. And number 6, if you became more committed to optimum health. So if you became more committed to your optimum health, what would you immediately start doing and stop doing? That's an interesting one. What would you immediately start doing if you became overall committed to your optimum health? What would you start straight away? And what would you stop straight away?